incredible rise and fall of Quincy Promes, from football star to international drug trafficker. On September 25, 2019, Ajax Amsterdam hosted Fortuna in a routine league match. While the outcome of the game seemed predictable from the start, one player made the night unforgettable. Quincy Promes, with his dazzling dribbles and flair, lit up the Johan Cruyff Arena with a spectacular hat-trick, earning thunderous applause from the fans. But behind the scenes, something far darker was unfolding. At the height of his footballing prowess, the Dutch international was reportedly crafting an audacious plan with his inner circle, a plot to smuggle over a ton of cocaine from South America. This shocking scheme, executed just weeks after his stellar performance on the pitch, would ultimately drag Promess into a world of crime with devastating consequences. Today, we unravel the jaw-dropping story of a football prodigy who rose to stardom, but fell into the shadowy depths of international drug trafficking. Let's dive into the astonishing tale of Quincy Promes. The early days. Quincy Promess's rise from Amsterdam streets to professional football. Quincy Promess's story begins in Amsterdam in January 1992, where he was born to parents of Surinamese descent. Growing up in the tough neighborhoods of West Amsterdam, Promess and his brother spent their days kicking a ball in the streets. But his childhood wasn't all about football. It was also marked by fights and territorial clashes with other kids in the area. I was never easy to handle. I loved chaos and never held my tongue for anyone, Promess later admitted. Behind his broad smile was a troubled child, prone to disruptive behavior and quick to resort to violence. His unruly nature was partly influenced by the company he kept, associating with people involved in various illicit activities. Thankfully, Promess's exceptional footballing talent provided him with a potential escape. Even as a small, wiry boy, he had prodigious skills, and at the age of 11, he was scouted by Ajax Amsterdam, one of the world's most prestigious football academies. Promess quickly began climbing the ranks, impressing observers with his raw talent and flair. However, by 2008, cracks began to appear. His persistent disciplinary issues led Ajax to expel him from their academy. The news was devastating for Promess, who believed his dreams of a professional football career were over. Feeling hopeless, he even considered giving up football altogether. A crucial conversation with his mother changed everything. She urged him to stay resilient, and Quincy emerged from the setback more determined than ever. After a brief stint at HFC Haarlem, Promess moved to FC Twente, about 160 kilometers away from Amsterdam. The change of environment proved pivotal, distancing him from toxic influences and allowing him to fully focus on football. At Twente, Promess matured rapidly, developing his skills and earning recognition. He won the U19 championship and further showcased his abilities during a loan spell at Go Ahead Eagles in the Dutch second division. There, Promess began to emerge as one of the most exciting young talents in Dutch football, setting the stage for his rise to prominence. The breakthrough, Promess's rise to stardom, and a surprising move to Russia. Quincy Promes' professional career began with an explosion of talent and numbers. During his first full season in the Dutch second division under the guidance of promising coach Erik ten Hag, Promess racked up an impressive 17 goals and 11 assists. His dazzling dribbling and relentless attacking flair helped Go Ahead Eagles secure their first promotion to the Eredivisie in 18 years. Promess' performances earned him the title of the league's best player, cementing his reputation as a rising star. Following his success, Promess returned to FC Twente in the summer, this time as an undisputed first-team starter. His street-hardened mentality and confidence fit perfectly with his new role. In his first 15 Eredivisie appearances, Promess contributed to 12 goals despite a mid-season injury. His stellar display saw him named the league's best player for the first half of the season and caught the attention of the national team selectors. In March, only 18 months after making his professional debut, Promess received his first call-up to the Dutch national team. His meteoric rise made headlines across the Netherlands, and he was hailed as the new jewel of Dutch football. By the end of his first Eredivisie season, Promess had tallied 11 goals and 8 assists, becoming the breakout star of Dutch football. As expected, Promess attracted interest from several major European clubs during the summer transfer window. Fans and pundits anticipated his move to one of the continent's top leagues. However, in a surprising twist, Promess chose to sign with Spartak Moscow in Russia. The decision raised eyebrows, as many questioned why such a promising talent would move to a less prestigious league. But for Promess, it was an opportunity to further develop his skills, take on a leading role, and prepare for the next chapter of his career. From Russian king to a challenging move to Spain, Quincy Promes stunned the football world when he chose to join Spartak Moscow, a move that many saw as a step down for one of Europe's rising stars. Despite offers from top clubs in elite leagues, Promess opted for the Russian Premier League, drawn by the lucrative deal offered by Spartak. For those who knew him well, this choice wasn't entirely surprising. Nicknamed Money Wolf by his teammates at Go Ahead Eagles, Promess had a well-known affinity for luxury, often flaunting his wealth through flashy jewelry and appearances in rap videos. However, while money was a key factor, Promess wasn't just in Russia for an easy ride. His first season with Spartak saw him quickly establish himself as one of the league's standout players. Promess finished as the team's top scorer and was named Spartak's Player of the Year, though the club fell short of qualifying for European competitions. In the following seasons, Promess elevated his game to new heights. In 2016, he ended the campaign as the league's second highest scorer with 18 goals, an extraordinary achievement for a winger. The next year, he reached even greater heights, being named Russian Premier League Player of the Month 4 times, July, September, November, and December, and playing a pivotal role in Spartak's first league title in 16 years. Promess also finished as the league's top assist provider, solidifying his reputation as one of the best players in Russia. By 2018, Promess had conquered Russian football. He was the league's top scorer and was widely regarded as being far too talented for the competition. Yet, while his club performances were exceptional, his time with the Dutch national team was less impressive. Despite being a regular starter, the Netherlands failed to qualify for both Euro 2016 and the 2018 World Cup, leaving Promess without a stage to showcase his skills on the international scene. Seeking a new challenge, Promess decided to test himself in a top European league, signing with Sevilla FC in August 2018 for $20 million. Unfortunately, his time in Spain was far from successful. While there were flashes of brilliance, Promess struggled to adapt to his new team and the demands of La Liga. His manager experimented with his position, even deploying him as a left-back at one point, but the results were underwhelming. What should have been a chance to prove himself at the highest level turned into a frustrating and forgettable chapter in Promess's career. How Quincy became an international drug dealer. In the summer of 2019, Quincy Promes and Sevilla FC mutually agreed to part ways after an underwhelming stint in Spain. Both sides acknowledged that the collaboration wasn't working. As Promess sought a fresh start, Ajax Amsterdam, led by manager Erik ten Hag, came calling. The move marked a significant homecoming for Promess, who had left Ajax's youth academy 11 years earlier under troubled circumstances. This time, however, he returned as a star, signing through the front door, ready to reclaim his reputation. Promess quickly found his form at Ajax. In his first 14 appearances, he contributed to 13 goals, showcasing his flair and technical prowess. On the pitch, everything seemed perfect. But beneath the surface, a troubling shadow loomed over his bright start. Shortly after rejoining Ajax, Promess received visits from the police at the training ground. The reason? His childhood connections. Returning to Amsterdam meant not just playing for Ajax, but also reconnecting with old friends. Unfortunately, some of those friends had ventured into serious criminal activities, including organized drug trafficking. One day, Promess was stopped by the police while riding in a car belonging to a man with suspected ties to major crime networks. This incident prompted authorities to warn Promess about the potential dangers of associating with such individuals. In the Netherlands, it is common for police to visit professional athletes with sensitive backgrounds, particularly those from underprivileged neighborhoods, to offer guidance and prevent them from falling into harmful environments. Promess, however, brushed off the warnings, portraying himself as innocent and naive. He claimed he was simply happy to reconnect with childhood friends and enjoy nostalgic moments. But this narrative turned out to be far from the truth. Behind the scenes, Promess was already deeply involved in illicit activities. Reports revealed that he had invested hundreds of thousands of euros in illegal enterprises alongside his associates. As his performances with Ajax garnered praise, his double life escalated. Promess transitioned from being a football star to an active participant in organizing large-scale drug trafficking operations. These activities included coordinating the smuggling of over a ton of cocaine into Belgium. This wasn't small-time criminal behavior. Promess was now part of an international drug network. His involvement in these operations marked a drastic shift in scale, positioning him as a narco-trafficker of significant stature. Unfortunately for Promess, law enforcement was on his trail. Investigators quickly began piecing together evidence linking the Ajax star to the illegal trade, setting the stage for a shocking unraveling of his dual life. The double life of Quincy Promess, a descent into chaos. In the months leading up to Quincy Promess's arrest, a multinational police operation uncovered a vast network of criminal activities through Sky ECC, a highly encrypted messaging platform favored by narco-traffickers. Authorities from France, Belgium, and the Netherlands successfully infiltrated the platform, exposing detailed plans for illegal operations. Among the many users of Sky ECC, Promess and his associates stood out, leaving a digital trail that led investigators to identify Phantasma, the mastermind behind a large cocaine smuggling operation, as none other than the Dutch international footballer himself. In June 2020, Dutch authorities placed Promess under phone surveillance to confirm his involvement. Unfortunately for Promess, his flamboyant and boastful nature proved to be his undoing. He frequently bragged about his double life, even admitting to a former teammate that he made as much money from business as he did from football. This cavalier attitude, coupled with his lack of discretion, provided police with ample evidence. Adding to his legal woes, a shocking revelation surfaced. During a phone call with his father in July 2020, Promess admitted to stabbing his cousin. The incident stemmed from a family birthday celebration, where a relative accused the cousin of stealing jewelry. Rather than addressing the accusation calmly, Promess reacted violently, attempting to stab his cousin, but instead wounding him in the knee. When confronted by his father about the incident, Promess's response was chilling. "Whoever steals from me, I kill. Whoever steals from my mother, I kill. If someone disrespects or harms our family, you'll see who I really am, not the footballer, but the other side of me. You're lucky I don't carry a gun anymore." This damning phone call, intercepted by the police, became a key piece of evidence in the attempted murder investigation. Although Promess was arrested and questioned, he was surprisingly released after a few hours pending trial. Publicly, he maintained his innocence, assuring his Ajax coach Erik ten Hag and teammates that he was not guilty, which allowed him to continue playing for both club and country. However, Promess, realizing the mounting evidence against him and the likelihood of imprisonment, began planning his escape. In February 2021, after a rocky start to the season, he made a calculated decision to leave Ajax and return to Spartak Moscow. The move was strategic, as Russia lacks an extradition treaty with the Netherlands, effectively shielding him from immediate legal consequences. For Promess, the transfer was not just about reigniting his football career, but also a deliberate attempt to evade the growing legal storm back home. It marked a dramatic chapter in his downfall, as the once celebrated footballer increasingly prioritized self-preservation over accountability, leaving fans and observers to grapple with the stark contrast between his brilliance on the pitch and the darkness of his off-field actions. Sentenced to 6 years in prison for drug trafficking, safe from the immediate reach of Dutch justice, Quincy Promes returned to the pitch for Spartak Moscow with a renewed sense of freedom. Relieved to be out of the Netherlands and seemingly beyond legal trouble, he began to perform well again. Despite his off-field issues, he was even selected for the Netherlands squad at Euro 2021. Though his contributions were minimal, the idea of someone who had admitted to stabbing a family member playing in a major international tournament felt surreal, highlighting the stark divide between Promess's football career and his personal life. His 2021-2022 season, however, was marred by injuries, preventing him from building momentum. But in the following campaign, Promess roared back into form. During the 2022-2023 season, he became unstoppable, amassing a staggering 25 goals and 10 assists in 37 matches, including being directly involved in 17 goals in just his first 13 appearances. At 31 years old, Promess's statistics were nothing short of remarkable, cementing his status as one of Spartak Moscow's all-time greats. Yet, his on-field heroics were overshadowed by the shadows of his past catching up to him. In the summer of 2023, the Dutch courts finally issued their verdict on the stabbing case. Promess was sentenced to 1.5 years in prison. The punishment, while significant, was only the beginning of his legal troubles. By February 2024, after an exhaustive investigation into his involvement in a major cocaine smuggling operation, the Amsterdam tribunal handed down a much harsher sentence, 6 years of prison for his role as a financier and orchestrator in the importation of over a ton of cocaine. The court documents described Promess as calculated and cautious, ensuring he kept his hands clean while others handled the physical aspects of the illegal operation. Despite his attempts to evade the law by staying in Russia, Dutch authorities were relentless in their pursuit of justice, leading to his double conviction. You might think such heavy sentences and public disgrace would cause Promess to reflect and step away from his criminal associations. Instead, it seemed to embolden him further. A talent to match his stupidity. The incredible yet tragic story of Quincy Promes took another shocking turn just weeks after receiving 2 major convictions. Rather than lying low, Quincy decided to release a song in which he insulted the judge and boasted about his actions. This bold move revealed that he hadn't learned his lesson and pushed the boundaries too far. In response, Dutch authorities issued an international arrest warrant for Promess. By late February 2024, he was arrested in Dubai while returning from a preseason training camp with his team. It seemed like the end of the road for the Dutch international, with many believing he would finally face the consequences of his actions. The Dutch Ministry of Justice confirmed in March that Promess had indeed been arrested as part of an extradition process. However, the story didn't end there. Despite his arrest, Quincy remained under house arrest in Dubai, awaiting extradition. Surprisingly, he continued to live his life as if nothing had happened, even sharing updates on social media. Following the termination of his contract with Spartak Moscow, Promess quickly signed with United FC, a second division team in the United Arab Emirates, and resumed playing football. This bizarre twist highlights just how surreal his trajectory has been. From one of football's brightest talents to a player tarnished by crime and controversy, Quincy Promes has become a case study in wasted potential. Once hailed for his incredible skill on the pitch, he has instead become infamous for his poor choices, fueled by bad associations, a craving for easy money, and a misguided obsession with a gangster lifestyle. As Promes continues to defy expectations, the reality is that his story likely isn't over. With an international extradition request pending, it seems inevitable that he will eventually face justice. Whether or not he can reclaim any semblance of the promise he once showed remains to be seen. For now, the tale of Quincy Promes serves as both a cautionary lesson and a tragedy. A player who had it all but lost it to his own hubris. Stay tuned as the next chapter in this unbelievable story unfolds.